Today I'm going to talk about two issues I believe go hand in hand. In one, talking about violence in the black community, and two, talking about gun rights and gun confiscation, which is really the same topic, just along the same conversation. Okay, so first of all, gun violence. There are a lot of people. For instance, let me start this way. Let's say you go to the doctor and you say, "Doctor, I have a bad cough." And the doctor says, "Tell you what, why don't I take your tonsils out? And then you won't cough anymore." So he takes your tonsils off, and of course you proceed to get sicker and sicker and sicker, right? This is the notion that the people have with gun confiscation as a response to gun violence. I had a young lady who messaged me and said that in her country, they don't have guns, and they don't have anywhere near the gun violence that we have in the United States. Then she went on to say, I questioned her a little bit. She went on to say they have much better labor laws and everybody is employed. They have very low unemployment. Aha! We're getting somewhere, right? So it's not that you need a tonsillectomy. You need a real diagnosis of the problem. So, gun violence. It's no mystery that poor people, given no alternative or very low alternative, or given no alternative that they can see or that they know about, because what's the saying? Knowledge is power. Poor people, uneducated poor people with very little knowledge, very little intellect, very little exposure to the world, to the business world, to real estate, to economics, to finance, to anything like that. You would think all of those topics would be wasted on the poor, right? That's what the Democrats say. Those people then, of course, resort to what they know and what they can do and what they have power and control over. And unfortunately, the easy way is to go to do violence. Violence to get whatever you want or whatever you think you want. Because a lot of times what they want is not what they want. It's what they think they want. And they're open to suggestions like what's on TV, unfortunately. As much as people want to say TV doesn't influence you, if you have nothing inside of your brain, it certainly does influence you. So, what's the solution for gun violence? Now, before we get to that, let's go to the second topic. In doing research for this, I wanted to talk about a certain sheriff or police chief. I wasn't clear which one he was. It turns out he's a sheriff. But in doing my search, I did searches for police chiefs as well. And I found it very curious that I found hundreds of police chiefs and hundreds of sheriffs across these United States who advocate that the citizens carry and are responsible with guns. They advocate arming the citizenry. Why? Because a responsible citizen with a gun can actually do the work of policing by themselves and do not have to wait for police to get to a situation that could be very deadly and that they could then protect themselves. And over and over and over, case after case, chief after chief, sheriff after sheriff, all said the same exact thing. Responsible citizens with the proper, open and carry permits and all that sort of stuff are very welcome to their jurisdictions. Now, when you go to the mainstream media, you do not hear this. It's only on the internet, which is our last vestige of freedom, which is being eroded quite quickly, that you see these stories of these chiefs and these sheriffs who are advocating arming and training the population. They are talking about gun safety. They're talking about training. They're talking about responsibility with guns. But their bottom line is that you arm the citizenry. That is the law-abiding citizens who pay taxes, who own homes, who have property, who have a responsibility to their own community to begin with. So, in talking about a solution, I want to put that into your head and so that you understand that the mainstream media, of course, is lying to you. How are they lying to you? They're presenting an argument that we need to disarm the population. And that is the only side that you hear. Disarm, disarm, disarm. Obama, Congress, New York, LA, Chicago, the most draconian policies for guns in the entire world. Next to, what was it, Mao Zedong, Hitler, and those sorts? Right. So, I present to you the other side of that coin. Countless sheriffs. I couldn't, after a while, I just gave up reading because, it was just the same thing over and over and over. Arm the population, arm the citizenry, make sure that they're trained, and make sure a message of responsibility goes with the gun ownership. When you disarm the population, it results in nothing but tragedy. It does not make gun violence go down. It results in tragedy because then the burglars, the muggers, the thieves, the robbers know that you're disarmed and they can walk in and shoot you knowing that you have no recourse, that you have no retaliation, that you have no defense. So what's the first part of the solution? The very first part and very easiest part of the solution for gun violence, and I'm talking, when I say gun violence, I mean criminals initiating gun force on the citizens. Criminals initiating gun force on the citizens. When that is what we're talking about when I'm talking about gun violence. I'm not talking about a 3-year-old picking up a gun and shooting himself with it. That is not what I'm talking about. And when I looked at those stats some time ago for another piece that I was doing, those stats were very, very low. The NRAs came out, with fist blazing, fist swinging, telling the left that they were completely lying about that. That first of all is a very low number to begin with. More people die in phone booth accidents than kids shooting themselves. Literally, it is like rare. It is not something that goes on daily. People shooting themselves in the home with their own gun by accident is as big as tugboat accidents. It's just really rare. But if you listen to the left, it happens all the time. It happens in every house, and it would always happen. And kids will shoot themselves in the head left and right, and old ladies will shoot themselves, and old men will shoot themselves, and it's just a terror and a trauma. And the gun literally is magical and shoots everybody, right? But the NRA and other actual research, other people who do data, when I looked at it some time ago, it said it was very, very low and really unheard of, and no reason to make a policy about it or a policy against guns in general. This is something that the left does. Now, before we get into this, I don't own a gun, or I might. I don't want anybody to say, "Oh, he doesn't own a gun. Let's go rob him." Not that I have any money, but you know, I'm just putting that out there. But I'm a martial artist. If you come into my house, you better be very quick in the draw because your neck will be broken before you take 2 steps into my house. I'm just warning you. Just in case you got an idea. Yes, I've taken martial arts all my life. Real martial arts, not the MMA stuff where you tap out and it's over. What is the solution? The very easy solution is to arm the citizenry. And that's what these sheriffs and that's what these police chiefs have said. The easiest solution is a well-trained, well-armed, ready citizenry. You can't wait on the police to protect you from a robber or mugger or what have you that's standing right in front of you with their finger on the trigger. You cannot wait. The police are not God. As much as the left wants to paint the police out to be, the police are not God. They are not omnipresent. They're not everywhere at all times. A well-armed, well-trained, responsible citizenry is the first leg of the solution of decreasing gun violence. In any case where you have disarmed the population, literally disarmed the population and publicized it, gun violence has skyrocketed in every country. You can go look it up yourself. Don't ask me for my sources. You can go. I'll give you some countries: Australia, Britain, Canada. Thank you. Okay. So the first leg is to train and arm the citizenry. The second leg is not so easy. It takes the very same citizenry to get up off of their butts and help people like me to get this done. And what's that second leg? Is to get government out of labor. That means government get out of the pocketbook, get out of the corporate taxes, get out of the business taxes, get out of the income taxes. What is that going to do? When I said the lady said that they don't have as much violence, she said they have fantastic labor laws. The government isn't in the way of business and labor, siphoning off money. So the second leg is to get government out of labor. There should really be no reason that government is in between you and your employer. You should be able to walk over to the corner store and say, "Are you hiring?" Right now, you can't do that. Why? Because there's 50 agents standing in between you and the employer. The employer can't say yes, and you can't even agree. You can't say, "Hey, you know what? I know the going rate is $10. Tell you what, I will work for you $8 an hour. I know the going rate is $7 an hour. Tell you what, I will work for you $5 an hour." You can't do it. You can't do it. Even if you wanted to, you can't do it. How crazy is that? You cannot negotiate your salary, and the employer can't negotiate with you. He can't even accept. If you said, "Tell you what, I'm a housewife. All I do is garden. I really just want to get out of the house. Pay me $3 an hour, and I will sweep your sidewalk 4 times an hour. Nothing else. That's all I'm doing is sweeping the sidewalk 4 times an hour. I won't really be working hard. I won't really be doing anything, but I just want to sweep the sidewalk 4 times an hour. And the rest of the hour, I want to be able to sit and talk and visit with the public at your cafe." She couldn't do it, And the owner, or the store owner, and the restaurant owner couldn't say yes to it. Can't be done. Can't be. And there's so many people wanting to protect these alleged poor that they get in the way of this. You know, old lady who just wants to be a greeter. I want to just stand and greet your customers. That's all I want to do. I'll sit on a chair and I just want to do it for a couple of hours a day. Right when you're at your busiest, I'll greet the customers, make them feel nice while they're waiting on a table, waiting for a table to open up. Can't be done. Even if she said free, can't be done. Can't even accept. Let me tell you about a story of a guy who won a government contract for his business. So he got a government contract. He had to hire 3,000 extra people to get to be in compliance with the government contract, right? So we got the notion. He already won the government contract. After that, to be in compliance with it, he had to hire 3,000 extra people. Here's the catch. Those 3,000 extra people did nothing. So literally, he had to pay 3,000 people to do nothing. That is a government contract. That is out of line. That is out of control. So literally, he took, here's the funnel. He took public funds, taxes, you and I pay taxes, and he funneled it into these 3,000 open hands who did absolutely nothing. You should be outraged. You should be fuming mad. Now, imagine you viewing this video who don't have a job. Imagine that. You should be angry as all get out, right? So let's see here. He went with congressmen to testify as to government largesse, as to why government should really stop making all of these regulations for labor, employers, and what have you. It is out of control, and it has skyrocketed under Obama. Of course, now, see, you didn't expect me to go from gun violence to policies made in Washington, D.C., but that's it. And that's what people don't understand. And that's what people do not get. It impacts the very lowest people, and it impacts the lowest people the most, because they can't go to the store owner and say, hey, tell you what, how about you pay me just $5 an hour under the table and I will guard your back door. Nothing else. I won't actually be responsible for anything. I will just guard your back door. And if I see anything suspicious, I will call the police. I won't even get involved. I will guard your back door. Can't be done. Cannot be done. And that is why the second leg of that is to get government out from in between you and the employer, or you, the employer, and the employee. And people are going to say, oh, but we need to protect the poor little. No, you don't need to protect the poor little anything. They're adults. If somebody says, I'm going to hire people for $2, guess what happens over on the next corner? He's hiring for $3 an hour. And the next corner, $4 an hour. Next corner, $7 an hour. So we get there no matter what. You don't understand how it works. I worked for a warehouse for a little bit. And guess what the topic of discussion was? Where was the next warehouse that paid more? That was the next topic of discussion. Stock options, medical benefits did not matter. Where was the next warehouse that paid more, and were they hiring? That was the topic of discussion for the entire year. So for people who think that they need to protect the little people do not need to be protected. A self-interest is a very good motivator, and it is a very high chilling effect on greedy employers. They don't want to pay, then they're not going to get anybody, or they're going to get the lowest of the lowest of the lowest of the low. Do you need to protect those people? No, because the lowest of the low normally come with a whole bunch of other baggage that employers really, really don't want. Stealing from the company, not really showing up on time, not being the model employee that you want, not doing the job. These are the people who really do not need protecting. These are people who probably shouldn't be working at all, but you're trying to protect them. So that's the second leg, getting government out of from in between the employer-employee space, right? So if we were able to do that, if we were able to abolish the income tax and abolish the payroll tax and abolish maybe the corporate tax, the corporate business tax is at 37%. It's ridiculous. And what you don't understand is the people who are working the office, the people, they pay that. This is not something that can be passed on to the public. You can try and pay the person more, but they still pay a percentage of that. They pay that directly. There is no workaround. There is no whatever, because the media wants you to believe that all taxes by businesses are funneled directly to the public, and it's just not true. It just isn't true. But they want to keep you dumb. They want to keep you stupid, so they want you to be like the poor people that I talked about who don't know any better. That's what they want to do. They want to make sure that you go dumber, so that you accept things like, oh yeah, corporate taxes, oh yeah, they're just funneled directly to the public. Not true. Okay, so what is the third leg? The third leg, of course, is simply more of the same. That is to make sure that government is as small as possible so it doesn't get in the way, so that we can have businesses fail that need to fail, like the Wall Street moguls. So the government has to be reduced and not have policies to bail out anybody. Oh, but then all of the thousands of people will be out of work. And you know what? Here's the deal. When those companies fail, they don't disappear into thin air. Billions of dollars in assets doesn't go poof in smoke. So with billions of dollars in assets, what happens? More conservative and powerful companies snatch up the pieces, right? Remember the 80s where you buy the failing company, sell off the assets and go about your business. Remember that? And everybody said that was, oh, that's terrible. That's horrible. The company was failing. Anyway, the company was failing. It's business. Do not have emotions towards business. The company was failing. Those assets include human capital. That means the employees. So the employees aren't going anywhere. And also, so why would you throw away with somebody with 10 years experience with die casting? You wouldn't. A lot of those industries don't have people knocking down the door with experience. So those people aren't going to go anywhere. Everybody says, you got to protect. No, you do not. Those companies need to fail. 3,000 people are not going to go unemployed. 3,000 people are going to go through some changes. It might be uncomfortable for a few months or even a year. But after a year or whatever, the new company or the new purchasers of whatever assets is going to take those people on. Now, we just to give you an example, we had just shake up here. A local fast food restaurant went from corporate to a franchise, and the employees did not like the new manager, and so they left. This is fast food. This isn't corporate America. This isn't Wall Street. These are fast food workers, right? They're working, making near to minimum wage. But leave it to Washington to say, oh, we need to protect those people. Those people need to be protected. No, they do not. These people are adults. They know what their pocketbook dictates. And they made a decision that they did not want to work under this new manager. And so they left. And like an entire group of employees left. They made their own decision, and they made them at various points. It wasn't like they all jumped up and walked out the door. I got the entire scoop. And people are still leaving. They do not like the new management. And that they do not need government protecting. They're adults. At some point, you have to say, oh, we're talking about adults. We're not talking about 3-year-olds, right? It's labor. It's, in some places you can't even work until you're 18. And some places, if you're under 18, you need permission from your parents. So somebody in a decision-making capacity is already involved in the situation. So the third leg is to get government out of the whole propping up bad businesses and taking and funneling money away from good people and giving it to bad people. In this case, the good people will be the businesses who keep up on, they're running their business smoothly, profitably, paying their employees, paying their taxes, right? To the bad ones who aren't running who are gambling with money and then relying on a government bailout. That is terrible. That is bad business. That's bad business and it's bad government. So we need to get anybody out of office who would vote for that. We need to get anybody out of office who believes that the government has to protect the laborer, protect the employee, protect the environment. A lot of the sins that are committed these days of the government getting in between the employee and the employer is the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, who comes knocking on the door and says, you're in violation of this, that, and the other, which serves no purpose, which doesn't protect anything, which doesn't uphold anything. It just creates bureaucracy. So, Chicago gun violence, Detroit gun violence. You want a solution? Those are the solutions. Arm the citizens first. Arm the citizens first. Arm and train the citizens and, make sure that they're responsible first. That's easy. Second, abolishing the income tax. People are going to say, wait. The government can get money from tariffs and duties. So all of the imports coming into the country. And first of all, not everybody is going to be a part of that system because it goes, import tax, it goes to the manufacturer and then the manufacturer goes to the retailer, the in-between guys, and then the retailer and the retailer to you. So ultimately you are paying for that tax. It's just that it is a more direct tax instead of a direct tax of digging into your pocket. So it means that you are not paying for somebody else's stupidity or laziness or what have you. And get rid of the income tax. Get rid of all of the social programs. We need to go back to the Republicans say that they are the party of their family. Then we need to go back relying on the family. The family putting their elderly and old folks homes being taken care of, or living with them, or or extended family living under a house. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it because the rest of the world does it, including Europe, the white people that pretend to be so superior. So the extended family living on a house, promoting the family, promoting the responsibility of the family, promoting the wealth of the family, and keeping the wealth in the family instead of having the family broken up and this cousin has to go buy a house and this brother has to go buy a house and these nephews have to go buy a house. Everybody has to go buy a house. And so the 4 or 5 bedroom house now has 2 people in it when the other 3 people could have come back and just stayed there for the rest of their lives, house paid off, and all of their money would go into their pocket. But that's not what they want to promote. They want to promote consumerism. So abolish the income tax, promote the family, right? So that goes along with it. Remove the Federal Reserve because it's unconstitutional on its face. The power to coin, mint, and the purse itself is given to Congress, not to a Federal Reserve. That's ridiculous. And for people to go along with this for 100 years is, in my words, retarded. And of course, the last leg is to get out anybody that votes for bailouts and thinks that bailing out people is a legitimate tool of government. That I believe it to be completely illegal, and I don't see anywhere in the Constitution where that power is even granted. I don't think even foreign aid is granted. You're not doing anything in furtherance of anything other than a corporate interest. The interest of the United States is not served by handing huge wads of cash over to somebody, especially that somebody who has gone on TV, who's gone into the newspaper, and who has said that they hate America. Oh, but we're going to go give them cash, which is not theirs to give. It's not Congress's to give. It is the taxpayers of America. The taxes are collected for Americans. So you're not supposed to give it away to somebody else. That is called what? Theft. Anyway, that is my solution to gun violence, all of these cities. It's not a local thing. It is a national thing. And when you look into the problem, you go up and up and up and up, and it ends at the president. It is just that serious, and it's just that impactful. Those people living in those dire straits are living that way because the government is in the way. It's not just that they're angry or that they're needy or even greedy. It's that the government is in the way. If you had a 2% unemployment rate, do you really believe there would be gun violence, record gun violence in Chicago, Detroit? I don't think so. Please like the video. Subscribe to me if you haven't subscribed before. The likes always promote the video, and share this video on any site that you would like. Thank you for watching the Chicano Live Show.